In our readings today, we encounter the multifaceted nature of Christ's kingship and how it shapes our relationship with him. More than just a teacher or friend, but as our sovereign Lord. I remember as a kid growing up in our faith formation classes, there was a lot of a focus on, Jesus is your friend, Jesus is your friend. And I could see where there's a value there, there's an importance there. Because it's true, the idea of friendship is something that's is a relationship that's very close, it's very intimate, one who knows you. And in the incarnation that we're beginning next week, beginning to prepare and to more deeply celebrate on Christmas Day, the incarnation reminds us that God wanted to remind us that he is close to us, that he is near us, that he is knowable. But we can't start there as friend in some ways. It must start with Christ as King. So let's begin by considering the gospel reading where Jesus stands before Pilate. See, this moment is pivotal. It reveals the nature of Jesus' kingdom in stark contrast to worldly power. When Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus responds, "My kingdom is not of this world." Now, this declaration challenges our understanding of kingship. Because you see, Jesus is not a king who rules through force or coercion. He reigns through love, through truth, and most importantly, sacrifice. And so to know Jesus as a friend, as a teacher, we must first recognize him as king. In acknowledging his kingship, we understand the authority he holds, not just over the earth, but over our hearts and our lives. His kingdom is rooted in justice and mercy, calling us to a higher standard of living. And so when we see him as king, when we approach him as king, we are reminded that his teachings are not mere suggestions. They are divine directives meant to guide us toward holiness. Now let's reflect on what it means to accept Christ as King. In our second reading, we hear that Jesus has made us into a kingdom, priests for God, for his God and Father. Now this is a powerful affirmation of our identity in Christ. See, as members of his kingdom, we are called to live out our faith actively. See, one of the chief functions of a priest, especially understood in the first century, was one who offers sacrifice. And so each one of us, baptized in the image and likeness of God, and as part of our baptism, we are baptized in the as we call it, the triple munera of Christ: priest, prophet, and king. He has made us priests, ones who are called to make sacrifice, to offer sacrifice. And so accepting Christ as king means surrendering our own desires and ambitions to his will. It is a call to let his reign transform our hearts and actions, reflecting his love to the world. And when we embrace Christ's kingship, we are also invited into an intimate relationship with him. Right? We don't presume this intimate relationship, we are invited into it. Because you see, as our king, he does not distance himself from us, rather, he desires to be close to us. He teaches us not just through words, but through his examples. He shows us what true leadership looks like: serving others, showing compassion, and standing up for those on the fringes. This is how we come to know him as our friend. Now consider the way that Jesus interacted with his disciples. He called them friends, sharing his deepest truths and inviting them to share in his mission. They did not presume his friendship. They engaged him first and foremost as rabbi, as master, the one who was leading them, guiding them. He set the tone for the relationship. He invited them to friendship. The disciples did not presume it. Right? And so in knowing him as king, we are drawn, we are invited into a friendship that is transformative. And it challenges us to love as he loves, to forgive as he forgives, to serve as he serves. Now, this isn't always easy, but it's essential for our growth in faith. And as we reflect on our own lives, we must ask ourselves, is Christ truly the king of my heart? Do I allow his teachings to guide my decisions? Do I seek his friendship in prayer and in the sacraments? You see, recognizing him as king opens the door to a deeper understanding of our faith. It helps us to navigate the complexities of life with the assurances that we are not alone. We have a king who walks with us, who understands our struggles, and who offers us his strength. Moreover, the celebration of Christ, the King of the universe, calls us to look outward. See, as we recognize his reign in our lives, we are also reminded of our mission to proclaim his kingdom to others. We are called to be ambassadors of his love and peace in a world that often feels chaotic and divided. And so this means being witnesses to his truth, champions of justice, bearers of hope. Our understanding of Christ as King propels us into action, urging us to serve those in need and stand up for what is right. So as we celebrate this solemnity, let us embrace the fullness of Christ's kingship. Let us recognize him as the King who teaches us, the King who befriends us, and the King who reigns with love and mercy. May we allow his presence to transform our hearts and inspire our actions so that we may truly reflect his light in the world. And as we receive him in the Eucharist today, let us renew our commitment to live as faithful subjects in his kingdom, ready to share his love and grace with all whom we encounter.